So, hey, this is Millennium Stein coming to y'all with another deck profile. Okay, so we got Monarch Gods, and hold on, guys. Got one little issue. Okay, there we go. Back to 43. So guys, we're gonna check out this deck profile now. It's gonna come out a little bit late, but this channel I ain't post a lot of videos this week, but we're gonna at least post at least 2 videos or 2 to 3 videos a week if we can't do anything else. And we're just gonna do it like that. But yeah, content is always gonna come. Sometimes it's gonna be more than other times. So just like, comment, and subscribe. Go ahead and lightning strike that like button, and don't forget that I got a spicy new deck profile for you. A lot of people liked it, a lot of people asked for it. It's not really competitive, but it has competitive elements. So that's the deck profile. We'll go into the replays, and then we'll explain how everything works, and then we can go check out the deck profile. But yep, so the first one, I don't even know what I was playing with, so playing against. So yeah, I didn't really open up anything, and apparently this guy didn't either. This deck can brick really easily, but it's like you don't have to play 3 exchanges and shows, but it seems almost as if a mandatory. We was playing 3 ADOs, but it seems a bit of a brick to play 3 copies of it, even with the desires. So I'm gonna brick on the ADOs without having multiple tributes for your god cards or having a vanity spin. And so, with the idea of having a combination of cards in your hand, you don't ever want that to be a bad thing. So you got to think about the combinations of cards as far as this not being a combo deck. It can't rely on just one card. It had to rely on other cards, working with other cards in most hands. That's the biggest problem with that god cards have in general. Exchanging Soul doesn't work with Fist of Fate, but it works with the god cards. And Fist of Fate, it doesn't have a search card. Whatever that search card would be, though, it'd also have to be able to search out the other god card support as well. So we don't have that yet. So that was that duel. Now we got another one. Played at Ignis Juice. Did I misplay this game? I think I did, y'all. Because I banished all my copies of my one card. Yeah, you know the one. Now how stupid is that? But my guy apparently doesn't have the most optimal kill combo. And scoops. So either way, I'm not gonna say he would have lost, but yeah, you can't summon Vanity's Fiend in defensive mode, so he still could have Lightning Vortex me very easily. But I could have played March of the Monarchs, so yeah, you probably would have lost because he wouldn't have been able to destroy Vanity's Fiend. So let's go ahead and chop that up as a tiny little misplay, because I should have looked at the card. I should have looked at all my copies of in my off of my Pot of Desires. So as you guys can see, the deck can generate a bit of advantage off of other cards and don't have to waste too many cards. As you can see, I still managed to maintain 5 cards even though I summoned the god card. obviously gotta know how difficult that is. And if you don't, you should know it's very difficult. Not only that, here goes an interesting play. EDOs into idea. Also gives you extra normal summon and the ability to nuke your opponent's board if Obelisk survives, allowing me to get an extra tribute summon, and I keep the other EDOs. And Obelisk ends the game, and if you negate my monster's effects, I can still stop you from special summon from the extra deck. And you already can't special summon, so. And you gotta deal with the big 4K monster that you can't target. Here I ain't really drawing nothing, and this guy completely misplayed. And didn't even activate the harshness. I'm over here trying to figure out why. Oh yeah, you can see this butts. You can go ahead and kill yourself. Bye. And then we got versus digital bugs. I thought that couldn't even win against some meta decks, but you have to open up so optimally. Not exactly realistic. With a couple of changes, you could potentially even play it at that level, but then you're only running one Fist of Fate, 2 Exchanging Souls, and only 2 of each of the guard cards. In hindsight, that's not so bad. You just have to make some major cuts. But what does that say about desires when you banish all your copies of a certain guard card? So they're still there to factor in. And then it's not really a guide card deck at that point. So yeah. And then Slifer wins the game right there. Definitely. But those are some options of cards that you can take out for the deck, and they have a really good chance of working out for you. You know, because if these 2 cards are something else, well, you have no side. But other options to potentially go second, like Dark River No More, things like that. So it is potential that the deck could play in a more competitive scenario. But you only have access to one of each of their to-do cards. But it's hard to draw those cards with their counterpart. That's the biggest problem. Without a reasonable search card for the guard cards. So, then again, you're gonna still run into issues. And so the guy breaks really super hard, and then on top of that, I don't say it's a real break, but once you see the Monarchs are up, it's like your monster's effects are negated, you can't special summon from the extra deck, my monster cannot be targeted, so you can't impermanence him, you got a Dark Ruler No More him, and then it doesn't matter because you really gotta kill him. And you know, Droplet doesn't target. He'll only be 2,000 then, but he's still 2,000, and you can't special summon any monsters. Effects are gone. And I had the Fist of Fate face down on top of that, so multiple Fist of Fates. Is it bad or not? Because that could be something else. But then again, whatever else that could be, it could be something that could stop something. So there you go again. Between Dark Ruler No More and Solemn Judgment, I like those. So I tell you what, guys, if you play the deck for real, you should probably try to play one of those cards. It's just that you run the risk of banishing your copies of a Desires, and that might be what you have to do to play this deck in a more competitive nature, which is usually what I try to do. But I wanted to make God cards as much God cardly as possible, and they skipped because no special summons. And then the last replay. So dude goes into Shaddoll window. And this play technically was not bad. This play was actually really good. You know, limit me to only one special summon, and then limit me to only one monster effect. I mean, how many people are gonna get past that? If he had Village of the Spellcasters with that combo, and you could imagine, man. I don't think I can see an Invoke deck playing Village of the Spellcasters, but it's not bad. Especially with the Invoke Shaddolls. I don't see none of those guys play that. Bit more play. Oh, she truly play more than one build. You gotta put Village of the Spellcasters and Shaddolls. So there you go, Desires. Man, he even got Slifer up to. He could have went ahead and popped the Slifer, which I might have. But I'm like, I don't know why he did it, but I would have just popped the Slifer, because I mean, bro, it's so fun. It's a big ass monster on the field, dude. Like, why wouldn't you get rid of this thing? It's you know what I mean? Yeah, like I would have definitely got rid of that. Like, no questions asked. I don't know why, because if he would have did that, I might have summoned the EDO, normal summon EDOs first. But then, yeah, but that wouldn't even matter, because that would have gave me an extra normal summon. So that play wouldn't even matter, but it just run over his monsters next turn. He draw Alistair Invoker, that wouldn't did anything, but you would have survived that turn, because I just hit you for game 4,000 and 2,400. But it doesn't know the deck list, so I guess that's what it was. Exactly. I didn't expect it. So on to the deck list. Those other god decks that you see are not a part of this. They're not Monarch gods, in other words. So we got 3 obelisks. Like I said, you can cut an obelisk. Then we got 3 Slifers. You can cut one of the Slifers. And then we got 3 Vanities Fiends and then 1 Majesty. If you do end up cutting those cards, it's like, what do you cut them for? Like, what? Underworld Monarch guy? Yeah, probably him. And then there's no real way to search him out. And then if you don't play the Underworld Monarch guy, you need cards like Dark Ruler No More and Solemn. But then you don't have as many tribute summons, so now you can't. Now it'll be harder to play multiple copies of Exchanging Souls. So now you only play 2 Exchanging Souls, and you got 1 this missing, 1 this missing, and 1 of this missing. So like I said, you could even cut one of the Exchanging Souls and the guide cards, and you're looking good for maybe a competitive nature, like either Solemn Judgment or Dark Ruler No More. Probably Dark Ruler No More. But I mean, like, you limiting your tribute summons hurts a lot. So there's barely any room for Dark Ruler No More outside of, you know, you take out Call by the Grave, and you try not to worry about the fact that your opponent can Ash Blossom idea, and that's going to hurt you a lot, because you do have Angel 01 and Dragonoid Generator to kind of play around Ash Blossom a bit if you need a tribute summon. So there is that idea. There's just a little bit of other cards you can take out potentially. Call by the Grave, one of the Prime Monarchs, and also the Foolish Burial Goods. So you got 6 cards to really work with right there. And that gives you guys some flexibilities if you want to play this deck competitively. Because honestly, it might be possible with the new support that they got coming out for gods, and not to mention that that would still be a possibility. Oh yeah, no, and I said you can cut the Thunder Force and the Fist of Fate. So technically, that's not 6 cards. That's 8 cards that you can potentially cut. Because of course, if you cut the God cards, you'd want to cut the Fist of Fate and the Thunder Force attack down to 1. Doesn't matter if you banish these all that much. If you see them, you see them. If you don't, you don't. Now there's 6 cards that you can technically cut. Technically, you can go ahead and cut these, and instead of cutting the gods, cut these down, cut the Called by the Grave, and then 3 Dark Ruler no more slammed into the deck. And then you still have the Foolish Burial Good and the Prime Monarch for a name for Pantheism. When you open up with your hand, you need a Monarch spell and trap card. You needed to discard. Bam, that's a good card for that. And then you go ahead and discard. The same for March of the Monarchs. Also, you could probably play 2 of those and only 1 of the Prime Monarch. But this is a deck. Like, we're just gonna do commentary, so we're gonna talk about this because this is just like a really, like, I could have go ahead and go in and gave you the competitive version, but it's like that's not really, like, it's not. Let me say something. If you're gonna be banishing a lot of, you'll just banish shit that you don't want to banish, and then Dark Ruler no more. So honestly, I'd probably go for the Thunder Force attacks and the Fist of Fate, and then maybe Called by the Grave for Dark Ruler no more, so you can go second, and that way you get to keep your Obelisk and your Slifer and exchanging souls in the deck, because that is a really big deal to have that instead of just worrying about having Thunder Force attack and Fist of Fate. It's a big deal to have your God cards, because that's like the bread and butter, and this card can be set as a trap card or go second, and then you contribute all your opponent's monsters. Meanwhile, Thunder Force attack and these cards kind of connect like trap cards or going second cards that you could use to wipe your opponent's back row, like a Harpy's Feather Duster, and also kill a monster at the same time. And Obelisk could already do that. Then Thunder Force attack, wipe all their board, then draw a bunch of cards. But moving on, we'll go on to the like 3 Vanity's Fiends. Obviously, this kind of what makes the deck able to play a little bit more competitive, because you have a Floodgate, and then the Majesty's Fiend also good. Uncle Camouflage, only a 2 of. We don't have this card yet, but I think we do. So I think it just came out of one of the sets. I think we do got this one. That might be a common or something. And you special summon, draw 1, get 1 card, good 1-star tribute for Vanity's Fiend or Majesty's, and an extra card. Combos well with Dragonoid Generator and Idea and Adios for 3 tributes for your Slifer the Sky Dragon, making it a 2 cards to summon your God cards instead of a whole lot more cards. 2 cards to summon your God cards. Well, that's good. That's pretty much good, right? Or I would say 1 card to summon your God cards, because you draw 1 card and then you get the special summon. So it turns it down to 1. Yeah, because you got 5 special summon. Boom. Keep that 1 card in hand. Special summon that. So that would be like 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, that plus then the God comes out, and then you still got 3 cards left in your hand after the God comes out. So that's 1, 2. It turns it into a 2-card combo, and then you still got the God card. So it turns into 2 cards to bring it out. The monster plus the God card, pretty much, and the other 3 cards are left in your hand. So yeah, it turns it into like just an exchanging soul situation. So it's about that, about keeping that advantage. And at least if you play Dark Ruler no more in the deck, it'll let you go second. So that'll be pretty much how the deck should play. And then 3 Pot of Desires to give you a little bit more advantage. And the Foolish Burial Goods, 3 Changing Soul, Called by the Grave, and then this is in here because Ash Blossom is annoying, and 2 Thunder Force attacks and 2 Fist of Fate, because I was really trying to play this as a God card deck. But honestly, I'd cut this down to 1. I'd cut this and then cut this down to 1, and then cut Fist of Fate, and then just play 3 Dark Ruler no more. And let's see who ain't gonna be allowed to go second. I will go second, and I will be able to play the game. Trust and believe. It just sucks that if you do cut the God cards, then you're putting yourself in a particular situation where it's like not really a God card deck anymore. So I mean, and without a search cards, they're lacking. And you got 1 March of the Monarchs to protect your monsters, and it protects God cards as well. Cannot be destroyed by card effects, and cannot be targeted by card effects. You ain't got none in extra decks, don't worry about Dragonoid generator. Against 2 tokens, but your opponent can also special summon some. Can't special summon monster from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, but that don't even matter. Also, during the phase, your opponent special summon 1 Dragonoid token to the field and take position, even if the card leaves the field. See, this card's better for god cards because you get 2 monsters, then you can just summon Idea, and that's a 3rd monster with the Obelisk or Angelo 1. So that's 3 monsters automatically out of 2 cards. And this time, you're only going to be left with 2 cards in hand after you do all that, but still, it's better than nothing. And it's easily generates free tribute fodder every turn for other cards. Your opponent also has to destroy this, and your others like they need to draw like Harpy's Feather Duster just to be able to play the game significantly. It's like, wait a minute, man. And then, of course, we got the 3 Domain of the Monarchs. And then 2 Monarchs are real well for this deck. It's another floodgate. You get your god cards on deck, and then you tell your opponent, no, I don't think so. So it's just fun. So it's funny that, you know, and I know people play the Sacred Beast. I was like, well, wait a minute. God cards can just be played with Monarchs, bro. Let's not forget that god cards can just be played with Monarchs. Lock your opponent out of the extra deck, and lock your opponent out of monsters effects with like a Slifer on field. That's pretty powerful, bro. So I mean, it's not so much, you know, but I mean people could just play Sacred Beast, but since they're more based on like special summoning than actual tribute summoning, because Uriah has to be specialed and Sacred Beasts have to be special. So guys, this is seemingly what they're supposed to be played with. Maybe no extra deck. As it was like Egyptian God Slime. I was like, that's a bit of an unfortunate one. And then, you know, God Slime is good. Don't get me wrong, guys. This card's really good. But this is not playing Winged Dragon of Raw. And then the next best thing, Domain and Monarchs are up. And then you got 2 Prime Monarchs right now. That could probably be cut to 1. But having that extra Monarch name card for Pantheism, you know, 3 Pantheism, is really, really good. This card is basically like another Pot of Desires. It's like you playing Turbo Gods, in other words. You know, Turbo Monarch Gods. So yeah, that's it, man. So guys, just make sure you lightning strike that like button, man. This deck is, man, I'm talking about, this deck is juicy. It's juicy. It's got a lot of flavor to it. And the only thing I tell y'all to cut, like I told you, the Call by the Grave, the Thunder Force Attack, and then, man, one of the Festive Fates. You don't need to even, you don't want to see these cards too much, but you play like 3 god cards, so the math ratios will be in your favor. It's like if you do draw the 1 Fist of Fate, more than likely you should be seeing a god card with it. At least if it's not the corresponding one, you won't be beat up about it because you only play 1 copy and you got 3 Dark Ruler No Mores. Turn your opponent's shit off and tell them, hey, we finna play this game out like we supposed to. Like, and you got a couple cards that can at least play around Ash Blossom, so you're not completely out of the loop. So, and then plus they might want Ash Blossom the Desires or the Pantheism, and maybe not the Idea. I almost have to see that coming, because even though that's 3 cards in the deck, it's not the only way I can summon the god cards at all. And if I only get 1 tribute up, then I still can draw this and this. So you gotta remember, between Idios and Angel on 1, that's 4 monsters versus Idea. So technically out of those 4 cards, you would open up them more than Idea. And you got Exchanging Soul. So it looks like to me you're trying to summon the god cards most of the time, if we do that by ratio. So we didn't really play too many of the Monarch cards or even Reinforcements of the Army. And Slime was an option, but I mean, Slime is not better than Dragonoid Generator. Generate 2 tokens right quick. You ain't even got a normal summon. It's hard for them to even impermanence this. And then you can go into Idea, which I don't think they can even impermanence that. Or you can go straight into Uncle Camouflage. Then bam, that's 3 tributes right there. So, hey man, that's the end of the deck profile, man. We riding Blue Eyes right on out of here, man. So, hey, don't forget.